A purchase invoice is a document sent by a seller to a customer indicating the cost and quantities of the products or services provided by the seller. The purchase invoice is a request for payment from the customer. In this case, the customer is your company. It is a legally binding, enforceable document. You can create purchase invoices based on other documents from the purchase flow or as a standalone document. By default, purchase invoices carry out all purchase-related transactions and incorporate functionality peculiar to goods and services receipt documents. If a goods and services receipt document does not precede the purchase invoice, you can use the purchase invoice as the receipt. In this case, the purchase invoice increases the quantity of goods in stock. Otherwise, when the purchase invoice is created as a standalone document or based on other purchase documents, it just makes the reservation on the indicated quantity of items. A purchase invoice created from the goods and services receipt document opens, debits the transit account, the crediting transaction to the transit account. It also creates other accounting transactions recording revenues, expenses, taxes, as well as changes vendor account balances. The changes are reflected in the transaction journal, the vendor's journal, the VAT journal, and the inventory journal. Nevertheless, even if you have enabled the creation of goods and services receipts, you will have to specify in each individual purchase invoice that you do not intend to use it as a receipt. If your purchase invoice is based on a distinct goods and services receipt, it has to be configured as a purchase invoice that does not perform the receipt function. In order to create purchase invoices and goods and services receipts as two separate documents, you have to allow the creation of goods and services receipts in the system by turning on the Use Separate Document for Purchased Goods Receipt option in My Company settings. First, we need to add the general details relevant to all items added to the document. So, we will start with the vendor. Once the vendor is selected, information about the payment terms, vendor bank account, contact, phone number, and address details will be automatically filled. Now, we just have to select the purchase manager. In the bottom group box, we can add and define items to be purchased. It consists of the tabs for goods and services. Here, you can add one or more goods and services and manually input information about them. Under the Goods tab, there is an additional section that allows us to add the warehouse and delivery details. To add an item, we click on the Add New button, then select the item from the list. Now we can input values for the necessary fields such as quantity, price, and VAT. This will generate the values of the other fields automatically. We can also click on the Extended Mode icon to view more fields. The Advanced mode helps us to view and edit the accounts to which payables and advances for the vendor are recorded. The Vat Details section provides us with additional information about VAT charged on added goods and services. Here, we can also find the VAT number and vendor VAT number. In the Documents Total section, we can find information on the default transaction currency. We can also see the total, net, and VAT amounts of all the goods and services. There is also the Price Includes VAT option that can be switched on or off depending on if we want the total amount to be calculated with the VAT or not. Once we are done, click the Save button. Don't forget to click on the Post button. Remember, if you don't post a document, the system sees it as a draft and doesn't take it into consideration. By clicking Journals button, we will notice that the information has been added to the VAT, transaction, inventory, and vendor's journal.